How are you? Thank you for joining me on this adventure. It should be a good time. I was trying to find the most interesting venture commander to build for, and arguably this being in two colors kind of gave her a leg up. I do know there's a Esper. She's white, blue, black. Legendary that came out as well, but that didn't really pique my interest. This felt the easier way to go about this task, and I could be wrong. We're gonna find out today. But Barrowin, the girl that comes from a land down under. Has that joke been made before? She looked the most interesting to me, so I'm excited to try her out. And there was another legendary that kind of piqued my interest. One of the Discordians almost got me to do it, a Patreon member. The Mono Green Venture legendary. That might be the next one. We'll see. But I gotta look over that other one again. Zephyrus, of the Hidden Ways. No. Blue doesn't add too much to the package other than like ISO Rev, right? Whenever you complete a dungeon, one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere. Venture this ability. So you just kill her and do it again? That's cute. No, we're gonna stick with Barrowin. But how are all of you doing? I'll let you guys enter the space, and then we can get into this deck. Benjamin says sup. Noboru says, hey. Is that the white-black one? Benjamin, referring to Barrowin. Yes, and we'll look at Barrowin in just a second. I'll put her up on the screen for my own sake, and then we'll go to her in just a second. Her art's really dope, though. I don't want to butcher his name, but Manuel did an amazing job. I like this over the other alternative frame. Only some of these really look good in that stylized, paper sheet border. I don't know how else to put it. I'm not a huge fan of all of those, but the one for this card is really good. And if she turns out, she would be really fun to own in paper, because I'm not sure they're going to revisit this mechanic anytime soon, so I want to get in my venturing while it's still, the venturing's still good. But she looks like the most interesting to me. Hi, says Jefferson. And your big says driving through KY as I listen to you build. Thank you for joining. I'm excited for this build. This should be a fun one and hopefully educational. Hopefully we all learn something, because Orzhov there's not that many great ways to make infinite mana in Orzhov, though that is the goal here. Not to say that, there's the Bomberman combo that we're all familiar with, and then there are a couple of quirky play lines, but I'm trying to narrow this down to the most efficient infinite mana lines, and we'll discuss what those are in a second. Of course, if you have any secrets in your Orzhov bag, let me know. Except for you, Big. Keep driving. Message while you can. Played against a Zephyrus precon, and I hated going against it. It's dirtily, didn't really do much adding blue. Against the precon, I think if Zephyrus was built in even if that precon was built upon, it's kind of difficult. People don't realize it is kind of difficult getting 3 pips down unless a majority of your cards are fixing. Obviously you're land based, but then you also have the talismans and the signets, and you have to actively get to a stage where you can put her down. So I think Barrowin is actually easier to accommodate because she's too generic Orzhov. So even in a circumstance where we just have a jeweled lotus, we can get her down much quicker than it would for a 3 colored commander that had triple pips in her cost. However, I do think that blue probably does add a bit to the equation, more than I'm giving it credit, if only in the fact that it has a lot of good control magic and a handful of interesting stacks pieces that I'm not sure you would want to utilize with a venture build, but this is pretty straightforward. What I like about this particular commander is the fact that it's on ETB. So with all of the blink effects that we will be using, we can leverage this to, say, complete a dungeon early and or just use a handful of these dungeons to our advantage. And there's one in particular that I want to cover that I think is the one that I'm likely going to prioritize, but that's if all goes to plan. And let me make sure I have the ability to put those up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Barrowin has Barrowin. Am I pronouncing this correct? Phonetically, is that Barrowin? I don't know, but that's the tomb I want. There's only 3, but it would be really cool if they revisited these and added more. It feels so doubtful. It's going to be like years before they return to this. I just have a gut feeling. All right. Coo, says Benjamin. Hello, says Philip. Hey. Fabian says peace. Jefferson, it sounds great. I was brewing with Esper Venture Legend myself. Yeah, she seems like the one to go for, if only because she puts you in more colors. Genuinely, if the green one, oh my god, if the green one was Golgari, like hands down, I would want to play it. Even if the green one was only because the tutors we would have access to, just to try to accommodate that game plan. Because I've seen the build for the mono green one is a food chain list, which makes a lot of sense. It's really smart, but you only have access to one food chain creature, and arguably the worst one. I mean, it's easier to put down, but then most lists are trying to put those into exile to cheat them out later. Que sera. So far as food chain lists are concerned. Squee would be great. If the green one was Gruul, that would be amazing. I would definitely want to build her. The Esper one just seems way easier to build around than Barrowin. I'm not sure that's true. Why do you think that? I think if you're in blue, there's likely better strategies to be playing for, right? Like a card that says win the game. I think that's an ideal situation. That's the strategy you should play for. You know, dawdling with dungeons doesn't make too much sense to me, but you could. I'm curious as to what you mean, though. Having 3 colors is usually better, right? But you do need to think about how you're managing your mana. I think this, what do you think about the venture mechanic? By and large, MTG Kage? I'm okay with it. It's fine. It's fine. I think it was built for limited experience, like drafting and sealed. Like, I don't know if it was fun or not. The general reactions I received in the community poll or in our community chat here on the channel was sort of like iffy. It was like 50-50. I don't think anyone was really whelmed by this set, sadly. But Ventures, by and large, I think they are a 10 out of 10 concerning theme. As a new mechanic to the game of Magic the Gathering, I'm more like a 6 out of 10. It's nice. It's cute. Like, I think what they allow you to do, it's almost like having eminence in certain cases. You just have access to a thing you wouldn't have access to otherwise, right? And what's cool about having this just in your back pocket, remember this is an accessible thing, is that one of these days there might be a legendary that cracks open the whole Venture package. It not having Venture itself, but is able to manipulate Venture creatures very well. Hell, even something like I mean, not that Selesnya has a great way to make infinite mana, but like if MEL was able to bounce Nadar infinitely, then you can just Venture infinitely that way. You know, do the dungeon that gains you life, do the dungeon that damages people. It's an outlet in and of itself, right? The fact that you can revisit dungeons you've completed kind of breaks this. I know they thought, you know, well, you're stuck in the dungeon till you complete it. Well, if you're trying to do this infinitely, you're going to waltz right through all those dungeons. So I think they might have created a potential problem here, but as it stands, there are typically better things to do in a competitive setting. I think in a casual setting, these are probably really fun, but I don't know that with certainty. And I haven't fought anyone that used a Venture commander or leveraged Venture in the 99 to some great extent. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it yet. I think this episode's going to be the nut. Don't see that much potential in dungeons right now from my limited experience. Yeah, and I guess that's where I just ended right there, right? I don't really know how good this will be. I have an idea of how good it can be. It's just nice to have this outlet always accessible. But it's also something to bear in mind, the added utilities you get from just having dungeons accessible and in a given point in time. I think that's also really unique about just having dungeons out there. Again, it's a thing you get to do for playing the game, right? If you have cards that say Venture, you just have access to a whole new, line of play. And I generally wouldn't advise you play for a strategy like this unless you had that keyword venture in the command zone. But I'm sure, again, maybe some legendary will come out that just breaks this wide open, and then all the Nadars go up to like $50 because this new legendary just like really cracked it. We'll see. Venturing on Death allows for so many triggers if you get a sack engine going. Yeah, I sure, I guess. I mean, that's the new thing, right? Because the rules were clarified in such that you can have a creature die, it being your commander, right? And then have that trigger go off, provided there was a trigger there. Is that what you mean? So that's kind of cool as a thing. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to think of a Esper line of play that's really potent for that. I have to read her. Well, we're not doing her. Maybe in a future episode we'll do her. But yeah, I just know that a Barrowin does the thing rather simply. So, and it's also something that you can leverage throughout the game with blink effects, which is something we're going to do. Blink is also just a unique utility at that. We're going to probably leverage a handful of ETBers. Sadly, this isn't a list that contains green. It would be nice to have like the Manglehorn or something that'll drop in and damage stuff. Most of the white ETBers are temporary, like when they leave the battlefield. But even that's nice. Like if we need to leverage, not to say that it's in the list, but like a Fiend Hunter, you can sort of reroute where the Fiend Hunter is targeting just by playing blink effects. But I think we're probably going to reserve those for Barrowin. Okay. Set is really low interaction, which makes the limited experience sort of bad in my opinion. Damn, like a 2 out of 10. Damn. Hamahimana. I'm curious if you all think that as well. How was the limited experience for Adventures in the Forgotten Realms? Did it fall like sort of... I always compare it to other sets, like my experience like drafting. How would it compare like to your favorite set, your favorite drafted set? How would the experience of Adventures compare to that? I'm curious to know. And I also want to know while I'm here, it's not finalized, but I'm trying to not necessarily rebrand, but rethink how the thumbnails are done on the channel. And I'm going to test them with the live streams first, but do you wear hats? Do you like the new thumbnail? And I don't know if you really took it in or not, but I'm curious. Do you like the new thumbnail for Cold Brew? So this is, again, something that I'm going to revise. This isn't the final version. You'll likely see me change the thumbnails on this channel until something clicks. But I kind of like the idea behind this current one, and it's something I want to go for and play with. I was hearing complaints about the text, or the font rather, the font choice for the foreground text, and that might change. I feel like it's very legible, even if the thumbnail is like, yay small. That's why I generally use this font, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. All right. Damn, low interaction. MTG Kage, you're welcome. I didn't really speak much on Venture at all during the live stream review. It wasn't anything I was interested in approaching, but because the set, that is really the selling mechanic, right? I did want to do at least one list. That's what this cold brew is for. That tackled Venture. And I think that this should be a fun experience. It'll be interesting to see how this can be leveraged, because while many of the combo lines that we're going to be utilizing today require sack outlets, and if you have a sack outlet, say something like a blasting station that really, that gets the job done anyways, a majority of the ones we're going to want to focus on will create mana. But what I'm saying is you won't really need to adventure to win the game if you have a sack outlet that damages everyone. But what's nice about having dungeons to crawl through is the fact that we don't need to think about adding in the 99 outlets for our deck, because we have outlets, 3 outlets that exist outside of the 99. So it's almost like we have 102 cards and a commander in this instance, which is kind of cool. And I'm really hoping that it pays off, right? We'll see about that. I'd like to see more people trying Alurin with Esarak in Golgari, and Golgari plus Dex. Seems like Witherbloom Apprentice Chain of Smog doesn't leave you as much empty. Oh, yeah. See, the Witherbloom Smog, I've seen it. If you accelerate to it quickly and do it, it's actually a low CMC combo. Like, comparatively speaking, if you look at what you need to do after an ad nauseum for a Chain of Smog, Witherbloom Apprentice, as opposed to a Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation, there are rituals for the black. Like, if I cast a Dark Ritual, this is insanely easy to accomplish, right? Whereas a Thassa's Oracle, you still need to have the double blue, and I'm not saying that's difficult, but 3 CMC to 4 CMC, it's actually a really good combo. Relative to what these decks are trying to do, the ones that are proactive and accelerating, they generally have all the rituals, and there are more black rituals than there are any blue ones. And I guess you could say High Tide, but you do need to have a dedicated list for that to operate correctly. So I would like to see that combo more. It is a little bit of a double-edged sword, but then again, using Demonic Consultation, you know, relieving yourself of your library, that's more damning than not having a hand. Right. All right. Karmic Guide, Revel Arc seems like it should go in. And, okay, so, yeah. So we can do Karmic Guide loops, but I would want them to equate to mana and any colored mana. And I'm trying to think if there's a Karmic Guide loop we can set up. The Karmic Guide loops that come to mind for me are the ones that utilize Kiki Jiki. Is there something that is an Orzhov that you would like to see? Like a Buried Alive pile, that would function really well here. Also, Buried Alive pile for Necrotic Ooze. That is something that we need to explore. If we can make an infinite mana line with Necrotic Ooze, I would want that. But let me look at the Revel Arc, because Revel Arc isn't usually seen in a competitive setting. Most reanimate strategies are not seen in competitive settings because they do require a lot of effort on the player's part. But let me look up, I'm actually spelling Revel Arc incorrectly. Let me see if I can get it to come up though. Leaves the battlefield up to 2 creatures with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Right? The only creatures I can think of that generate mana in Orzhov are Priest of Gix, and I mean like on arrival, right? There are combos with Priest of Gix that are pre-existing, but that only gives you black, right? And unfortunately, the way her mana is split, it does require white. But we can look into that. Maybe that's the thing we do. That would be great. But let me see if I can catch up with the rest of these before we start. The pre-release was quite fun. The venture mechanic was super interesting to build around. Overall, I was surprised at how fun this set was for Limited. I'm glad to hear your experience was good, Austin. Another question, but it's off topic. Where do you see cEDH's future going so far? As it stands now, I mean, it's sort of predetermined. Like, the win con, if you're in blue, and it really doesn't matter, you know, what that mix is generally going to be Thassa's Oracle. And you're also going to rely on Underworld Breach. And then for all the rest of us, if we're in red, you rely on Underworld Breach. And then there's just a few niche strategies that are able to keep up still. Like, I still see Savala's and Marwin's win at very heavy-handed competitive tables, but they're very predictable now. Things like Gitrog, that keeps coming up in this recent community poll, he's super niche. Like, the only player we had that played Gitrog stopped playing Gitrog a year ago, because a year ago Gitrog was too slow. And it's still too slow, sadly, and extremely predictable. Right? It's as soon as you see the Putrid Imp or the Noose Constrictor or whatever, you're the Wild Mongrel, you're like, okay, well, that's one part. Do they have Gitrog out? Okay. You're just waiting for that moment to occur, and it's very easy to anticipate, and it's very hard to accelerate that strategy. Right? So a lot of these more niche commanders are sort of dying off to various partner pairings and or just the onslaught of 5-color commanders. Like Golos was, I'd say, well, Cody's is quite good, but Golos is really good. Obviously, Kenrith is outstanding, but it is getting more homogenous in nature, right? The strategies you see out of these huge lists, these card pools of 3 or 4 or 5 colors, but my hope is that we still see a lot of legendaries that are unique to build for and still viable. Like, I'm quite liking Oswald Fiddlebender and expect a deck list here soon, but that is a commander that competes by nature of its mana cost and its effect. Having a Birthing Pod in command zone is amazing for artifacts because you can dominate how the game is played, and it's been testing really well for me. So I think that the nature of the game, probably the same. As soon as another new broken card comes out, people are going to leverage it. Some people will moan about it. Maybe the RC responds, maybe they don't. I suppose I'm happy that we're out of this Flash meta that we were in before, but it hasn't changed too much. I still think years ago, I still think that Ad Nauseam was the thing to ban. I still think it is sort of like the great enabler for all of these decks. Like, black is a really great support system for what blue is trying to do. Like the Demonic Consultation to Thassa's Oracle, or Lab Chase, or Laboratory Maniac before that. But really, the meta is going to stay the same. I think that new cards may come out that are functionally better and or help improve what these strategies are trying to do. And that's really the only thing that's going to alter. But there's also niceties to this too. Like, once I know how your Grixis list operates, I am very good, or at least well-versed, in stopping it. And those heightened interactions, those moments, are why I play the game. So I don't mind that I'm getting accustomed to what strategies I see. It's just more for me to play with, honestly, when I sit down and have a game night. Let me see here. Interesting take. I never thought of black versus other colored mana issue with a combo. Yeah, well, at least with Barrowin, that's a unique issue. I just came. What commander is it about? Barrowin. Barrowin. Should be in the title. Pitiless Plunderer, too cute. No, hey, thank you. Pitiless Plunderer. So we would need to look into a combo for Pitiless Plunderer, right? Whenever another creature dies. Yeah, no. That's not cute. That's actually really good. Thank you. I like this. I'm going to put it in the list right now before we even start, before I get this off the ground, which we should start soon. Sorry, these usually go well into the episode, but I don't think this one's going to be too difficult to set up. And you know what? There's another combo I wanted to do. Maybe I shouldn't. We'll see. No, I want it. It's going to be in there, and we'll look at it together, and you can tell me how bad it is, and we're still going to incorporate it. Sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Nothing, colors, as we're about to start. I'm closing out this poll now. 87% said, do you like the new thumbnail? Yeah. Awesome. Good. I'm glad that's the case. It's going to be that way then for the foreseeable future. So let's start. Wolf Skullclamp has to go in. Maybe. I don't know yet, but we'll find out. Welcome back to the 99, where we're focused on brewing a better competitive commander. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, and this is Cold Brew, where I take it from start to finish on a brand new deck. And today we are looking at Barrowin, the Nurturer. No, we're looking at I was just looking at Pitiless Plunder. Barrowin of Clan Unda. So, Barrowin is 2 generic Orzhov Dwarf Cleric, legendary obviously, 3/3 body at uncommon, so hold on to those copies if this deck checks out. But when Barrowin of Clan Unda enters the battlefield, venture into a dungeon. That's the most important part of this card, but I'm going to read the latter half of it because this actually might come into play pending the speed of this list. This might be useful. Whenever Barrowin of Clan Unda attacks, return up to 1 creature card with a mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield if you completed a dungeon. That's actually quite good, right? It's free to do. You don't have to pay to have this, happen. It just happens as a triggered ability on attack. Now, unfortunately, this creature isn't tapped in attacking, so you can't really work around a strategy that would rely on that system. But you are recovering things from your graveyard that are 3 or less. And it just so happens that one of our combo creatures, at least one I want to incorporate, is 3 or less. So if the game drags on, this is a really good card. But we also happen to be in the color of reanimation. So we've got a lot of reanimate spells, we've got a lot of blink spells. So in my mind, my working theory is that because Barrowin wants to venture and get to this point, you can do it infinitely, obviously, and win out the game, and that's fine. But just using the dungeons for value along the way is a good idea. So even if we use a culling ritual and sack Barrowin, it's not, that radical idea because we're going to have a lot of reanimate spells for her, and you wouldn't do that necessarily if you didn't have the reanimate spell. But bearing in mind that when she comes back, you venture again, and you can sort of steamroll through these. They're not activations. You steamroll through these events, through these ventures. And I want to take a look at the dungeons with you. They're all obviously very good, and they all win in their own ways, but we can just take a gander at these really quickly to get an idea of what they're doing. And I'm actually going to say that Tomb of Annihilation is probably my first choice to venture into, but Dungeon of the Mad Mage, I'm just going to highlight the important effects here. Gaining life is important, and I know you're wondering why. We'll talk about it. Runestone Caverns is very good. The issue with this card is that you do need to work your way through quite a few rooms to accomplish anything that's really of value. You know, obviously going to the Goblin Bazaar, making a treasure, that's all really good. The card quality effects with scry, you don't typically see that in these colors. White has a handful of scry effects, but that's it. But we do have that here, so there's some card quality here. But obviously at the end, draw 3 cards, reveal them, and you may cast one of them without paying its mana cost. That's, you know, that's a shoo-in. That's very good. And then you can sort of build in any sort of combo you want. But if you gain life, you're able to use Tomb of Annihilation to handle any situation, really. And we'll get into that in a second. But same story here with the Lost Mine. The scrying is fine. We're probably going to go for mine tunnels, if anything. Each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. That is an outlet, right? So Dark Pool is fantastic. And then obviously the Temple at the end. You draw a card. That's great too. You're gonna kill your opponents before you ever draw your deck, right? So even if you had 70 cards left in your list, I don't see this being an Ad Nauseam list or Appearance of the Abyss list or some sort of wacky, crazy, I'm gonna pull all my cards and win the game. This is not this list. There are better lists that do that, and I will say that if you want to play an Ad Nauseam list, play my Rograk and Devesh list. That's a good list for that. Today we're gonna focus on something else. Tomb of Annihilation, though, what I like about this card, so each player loses 1 life, that includes you. Each player loses 2 life. We're never going to go to Oubliette. Okay. Each player loses 2 life unless they discard a card. Perfect. Reanimator setup. Perfect. We want to do that. So we can give ourselves, you know, off turn. Let's just say that because one of the combos that I want to incorporate happens to use Lean and Relic Water. We can also actually use Boonweaver Giant for much the same effect, and I'll get into that in a second. But you can flicker with anything, Ephemerate, off turn, Ephemerate, Barrowin, and just get her into this zone, right, if she's ventured already, and discard this card off turn, which would be whatever utility you wanted, while everyone else is losing 2 life. They're likely going to take the 2 life, right? But the discard for you is of quality. You want that. The next effect, sacrifice a artifact, creature, or land. Well, sacrificing a creature wouldn't be bad. Come to think of it, you know, like if we used an Arena Rector, we used an Academy Rector, if we used a creature that wants to die, this isn't bad at all, right? And someone mentioned Pitiless Plunderer. Again, we're going to have a lot of reanimate effects, or we should be incorporating a lot, so I'm not too concerned about that. Maybe we throw an Allurus in here, not as a companion, but just to be in the 99, right? So there's a little bit more recursion there. Cradle of the Death God, you don't care about. Okay. I mean, you get a 4/4 thing, but it's not hasty, and you're not going to go to Beat Street with this, and you should just kill them with Lost Mine or with Tomb of Annihilation, and you'll be fine. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Barrowin. You've got a lot of utility just venturing into the dungeons, and I'm going to try to leverage that as much as possible. Again, I think the Tomb of Annihilation is the one we're going to go for most. With blink effects, these should be really good and very easy to accomplish. Again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 to accomplish this tomb, and then you have that last ability activated. So I see this being a mid-range reanimator combo list with stacks. So what I have for you so far, don't look at the land base. Ignore the land base. Although you can look at it if you want. Ancient Tomb, all of these, they're fine. Hull of Heliod's Generosity, because we're going to be relying on things like Animate Dead and such, we're going to want some form of recovery, and this would be okay for that. Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, this is only if we do rely on permanent stacks solutions that give us mana positivity with this. We don't necessarily need this. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory, which is color fixing. But to get the infinite mana pile, let's look at the more common way of doing this. But what's nice is we also have Pitiless Plunderer now. Thank you for that. It's not cute. I was trying to remember what this card was, and you said it, so thank you. Whoever said it. Whoever said Pitiless Plunderer, props to you. Props to you. Honorary Patreon member of the day. It's not true. I can't just hand those out. But you're practically Just as helpful. Thank you. Because with you'll need a sack outlet to make this work. But with Phyrexian Altar on the battlefield, sacrifice a creature, add 1 mana of any one color. Well, there's an infinite combo that I've illustrated in a previous YouTube short. With Animate Dead and Leonin Relic Order. So Leonin Relic Order enters the battlefield. It sees an enchantment. So whether Animate Dead is on it or something else, target Animate Dead. Cool. If Phyrexian Altar is on the battlefield, you can sacrifice Leonin Relic Order. Well, it's a triggered ability on Animate Dead. So whenever it leaves the battlefield, the creature that it was attached to is sacrificed, which in this instance would also trigger your Pitiless Plunderer, but we'll get into this in a second. We have the Phyrexian Altar we're looking at now. What we're ultimately getting to here is that Animate Dead's going to land on Leonin Relic Order. Leonin Relic Order is going to remove the Animate Dead. It's going to sacrifice itself off that trigger, but before the trigger occurs, you'll use Phyrexian Altar to sacrifice it for 1 white mana. Graveyard. Oh, comes back into play. It's only exiled temporarily. This is a pretty classic combo. When it enters the battlefield, it sees Leonin Relic Order. Leonin Relic Order comes back into the battlefield. Sees enemy. Oh, delayed trigger on the stack. We're going to use the Phyrexian Altar to make infinite Orzhov. Maybe put a little blue in there. Maybe splash in some green. And then we're able to cast Barrowin infinitely. Right? And with Phyrexian Altar, we have a way of sacrificing her to keep doing this. The same strategy will work with Pitiless Plunderer. Right? You will make infinite treasures. Right? When Leonin Relic Order, another creature you control dies. That includes it sacrificing itself. Battlefield to graveyard. Leonin Relic Order can do the same trick and create infinite treasures with Pitiless Plunderer. And if there's a better combo for Pitiless Plunderer, let me know. The issue with this is that there is no sack utility here. It'd be really great if Barrowin had the ability to sacrifice herself, but that's just not the case. Boonweaver Giant. I know what you're thinking. Why would you want that, Pat? I've always wanted to play with this card, okay? I've always wanted to combo with this card. So it's here for now. But Boonweaver, it can do the same thing as Leonin Relic Order, right? So when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library, search your graveyard, hand, or library for an aura card and put it onto the battlefield. I didn't put in the combo piece with this yet, but it is a card we've just talked about, Kai's Ghost Form. There are other cards that do this, but this one's sort of the easy inclusion, and probably the only one we would want to incorporate. Maybe we put one more thing in here. But with Kai's Ghost Form, Boonweaver Giant, Phyrexian Altar, so he will find Kai's Ghost Form anywhere, right? It's important to note that he says you may search your graveyard, hand, or library. Hand. I don't think I've ever used it to find something in my hand, but you could, which is really cool. You never have it stuck in your hand. I guess that's nice. But Kai's Ghost Form. So he'll find it, put it on himself, and then when he dies to Phyrexian Altar, go to the graveyard. Ooh, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Boonweaver Giant. ETB. Let me search my hand, my deck. No, my graveyard for Kai's Ghost Form. Put that right back on myself. Sacrifice it for Phyrexian Altar. Now the only issue with the setup, and you'll notice I said the words Phyrexian and Altar quite a lot. We're really relying on Phyrexian Altar to get the job done. Sadly, right? So Blacksmith skill, all the things to protect the things will be running in this list. Not only to protect, other various stacks pieces, having them as a form of interaction, but having that piece of protection out for the Phyrexian Altar, you will need it. But there are, again, other ways to combo out. Leonin Relic Order is probably going to be the ideal target for this, but so far as reanimate loops are concerned, we're going to want Kai's Ghost Form. You can have Gift of Immortality. There's a couple of enchantments that do the same trick with Boonweaver Giant, but what's nice about these combos, you've noticed, is that they're very condensed. I say they're condensed. It's 3 cards. But once they're accomplished, Barrowin is really just accommodating the outlet. She's essentially an outlet with how Venture works, right? With those 3 extra cards that are just in our list for playing Barrowin. Okay, so I'm going to go back to you guys. Now you know what I'm thinking. I want to see what you're thinking. Gravecrawler to start over and hit those broken 2/3 drops. Gravecrawler does need a zombie to be cast from the graveyard, right? So unfortunately, we don't have a great tribal for for that, but we can add in a line of play with Gravecrawler if we so desire. It's not completely out of this, the realm of possibility. I wonder how this compares to Tayem at the end of this. Well, we can face off, Rune Serpent. Your Tayem versus my Barrowin. How about that? That mythic zombie that ventures. Probably not necessary. I think because we have Barrowin, we should just focus on Barrowin, and that way our 99 can just focus on cards that synergy well with her, and then obviously play out these combo pieces, right? I think we should probably just focus on the main line of play, although you could add the zombie if you want. Finally caught a live stream. Thanks for joining, Burger King. Jeff GGTV. Lost Mine seems better in my opinion, at least for endgame winning. Corpse Knight is also good with lean-in lines. Yeah, and that's another thing, guys. If you want to, these are commonly called aristocrats. You can call them whatever the hell you want. You can even call them by their name. But Corpse Knight, cards like this, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to think if there's an Isochron loop in white. Can't really think of one. I would really love for there to be a decent Isochron loop in white. And if you know of one, or in black, but it's probably going to be a white card that offers the blink. But it would be really cool. Yeah, Corpse Knight is fine. It's nice for this particular strategy because both, Leonin line and our boy Boon Weaver, who needs a sack outlet, would thrive off of this. Again, it is an aside though. Do consider the fact that Barrowin is our outlet and that we don't need to add additional outlets to handle this. Unless, Drannith Magistrate is like a huge issue for us, then, maybe you would want to incorporate at least 1 win con in the 99, but it's not absolutely necessary. I think generally speaking, you could probably just add a blasting station for the same effect, right, as a Corpse Knight. And at least that way, we're doubling down on the utility. We have 1, a sack outlet, and then 2, a win con, instead of just a win con that doesn't sacrifice anything. It's like Corpse Knight, or Blood Artist, or Zulaport Cutthroat, or any of that stuff. Not to say that this is a bad idea. I think that we should probably focus on finding additional sack outlets for this list that work well in tandem with the strategies that are here. And again, that isn't to say that these are what we use. I do think that these are functionally best if we're trying to venture, which was the main goal, at least for me. All right. Is this the main win con? Barrowin is the main win con. What about Nether Trader? Nether Trader is a unique card that you're allowed to... I'll just read it to you. You can pay a black to bring it back from the grave in a particular situation. So, haste, shadow, irrelevant. Whenever another creature, unless I guess we had Tymna in the 99. We might add Tymna in the 99. Whenever another creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay a black. If you do, return Nether Trader from your graveyard to the battlefield. What about Nether Trader? There are lines of play with Nether Trader. I don't know if they're absolutely necessary, but there are play lines with Nether Trader. You want to be making colored mana, right? And unfortunately, in this circumstance, the black mana... The lines with Nether Trader, I don't think mesh well with what we're trying to do with Barrowin. I'll stop there. Why not Sephiroth Ghost? Because Sephiroth can suck a fat dick. Is that what you wanted to hear? Is that what you want to hear about this, Commander? No, I'm just interested in Sephiroth. Whenever one or more creatures put in your graveyard from anywhere, I find the utility on Barrowin to be better. The fact that I can blink her and utilize dungeons effectively instead of having to think about having sack outlets on board immediately. Also, the fact that the sack outlets are a major part of our strategy kind of tells the board that we're nearing a combo, right? I'm assuming... So, in this instance, she can only do this once each turn, right? So you're doing this for value still, which is fine. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about Sephiroth. I looked at her. I liked Barrowin more. If you think that Sephiroth is better, then you should just build Sephiroth and maybe take a few of the utilities that we showcase in this live stream. But I think that Barrowin is better. She doesn't have counter spells, but I don't know. I've gotten by this far. Yeah, let's go ahead and add some utilities. I said blasting station a couple times there. Why don't I just look up here? Look at that. Sacrifice. Sacrifice. Because there might be a card that says permanent, right? Not just creature. But look up sacrifice. Because I want to find fun utilities for this list. It would be really nice to find a Necrotic Ooze line of play. Someone hit me up with the Necrotic Ooze line of play. Is there an infinite mana line that happens on the spot? I'm sure there's some sort of Pilla-Palla nonsense, but I don't want to have to think about it being, not summoning sick. What's the plan if someone were to remove the altar? Any backup strategies? That's the thing. Pitiless Plunderer is our backup now. We'll just need more sack outlets, right? So in this circumstance, there are going to be buried alive piles for this list. Obviously, we haven't orchestrated what our entomb/buried targets are outside of our main combo creatures, but Pitiless Plunderer is going to be our other way to net mana of any color, but specifically for this Orzhov mana. And then, again, Pitiless Plunderer will work with Leonin, Animate, Boonweaver, Kaya's the same exact way, except to accommodate for Boonweaver, we will need a sack outlet, which is what we're looking at now. Cloister Gargoyle, Karmic Guide, Revelark, Sack, Infinite Venture, Win. I don't know, Cloister Gargoyle. Arrived right now. What's going on? Oh, shit. Everyone will fill you in. Ephemerite, Iso Scepter. Ephemerite with Isochron. So is it 2 or less? I'm sorry. Wait, let me look at Isochron really quick. Or is it 2 CMC? 2 or less. Okay. So yeah, you could slap on Ephemerite, but then, Ephemerite becomes more expensive, but then you have access to it always, which is kind of a good thing. Well, I've got the best looking Ephemerite in Magic, right? This card is just amazing. This is just really good in tandem with our girl, the ET being, getting the trigger, doing the thing. We can look into that in a second. My friend brewed a dope deck around Saphras. Oh my god, with the Saphras. Get out of here with Saphras. Link the list. All of you Saphras loyalists, link your list, and then we will duel. And then we will see who reigns supreme, Saphras or Barrowin. But that's not what we're doing today. Dance of the Dead and Entomb and Necromancy. Yeah, we're going to need to add some cards. And if you're following along, you're more than welcome to look at the list. It is in the show notes or the description for this episode if you want to follow along as I'm building it. And you can also play test it. It's more important to follow along at the end so you can play test it as well. Can you do Necrotic, Sliver, Basal Sliver, Nether Trader, and Hivestone? Seems like a lot of cards. Is there a combo there? I bet you there is. Altar of Dementia and Viscera Seer are the suggested sack outlets. Okay, infinite mana plus board wipe. I have to look at that. Guys, and there's also Oriok Salvager LED. And we didn't talk about that. I don't know if I want to include that. I'm going to add a Jeweled Lotus because I am looking at it. I wish I could add that Black Lotus. I'm going to add a Lotus Petal. But we're going to look at sack outlets. Okay? Okay? Things that will sack creatures. Blood Pet's cute. I don't know if we need that kind of piggy bank in this list, but it exists. But it exists. A Carrion Feeder, sort of a classic one. I honestly would prefer that the sack outlet had added utility that was useful. I don't think Viscera Seer is out of the question, though. I don't mind Viscera Seer as a sack outlet. She's not so bad. She's not bad. I like Viscera Seer. Yeah. Moving on. None of these cards. I love the art on Jolderon Dead. Never had to say that word out loud. Got some of my favorite arts right here. Cards that will never get played, sadly. Sacrifice Liliana's steward, you say. Well, I need him to sacrifice other things for me. Can we do that? Can we do that, steward? All slivers have... Nah. Is this what you were talking... No, you were not talking about that. Sacrifice element. No, don't want that. I mean, I think I know what I want. I just want to see if there's anything else that I'm not thinking of right now. Or see if there's any sort of sack utility that I might have missed in the past or something new that's come up. That's generally what I do here. Again, like I feel like I know what I want sack-wise. There's the Viscera Seer. At least the Scry is useful, seemingly useful. Okay. Philidor Guardian and Glorious Protector is infinite blink for Barrowin. Glorious... Oh. Look at this. Thank you. Enters the battlefield and may exile any number of non-angel creatures you control until Glorious Protector leaves the battlefield. So you just need to incorporate any sort of blinkers, right? This is a really cool card. It's at least something that we were going to see because I want to do a search of all of the exile permanents, exile creatures specifically. But you're right. Yeah, this is a cool 1-2 punch. We do need to... If you don't know what Felgadar Guardian does, when it enters the battlefield, it will blink a permanent, right? It's also 4 CMC. But then you would blink Glorious Protector. She would come in, blink those two. And then it is, as was stated, infinite ETB. Exile another permanent, right? So it can't exile itself. That would be ridiculous. But yeah, I like that a lot, actually. I'll add that now. I don't know how we want to get there or like the best route to get there. But this is a really clean way to do the thing. And this actually might cap it for us. We'll have 3 separate ways of doing infinite lines of play. And I think generally speaking, that's good enough. Like, I don't want to add too many more lines because then our list is just convoluted with combos, while we should really just be focusing on some core ones. And that way the rest of our list can have good interaction, good stacks, right? But again, I want to find one more sack outlet. It really could just be as easy as adding Viscera here. I think Ultra Dimension is fine. I'm not really into milling my opponents out. And right now, with Underworld Breach being as prevalent as it is, I'm not really high on doing that. Someone mentioned Dance of the Dead Necromancy. I don't mind them. I'm going to add in a Reanimate really quick while I'm thinking of these things. You can see me fail on spelling Reanimate. Thank you. Oh my god. Reanimate. Entomb, Buried Alive. I'm just going to get some of these sort of obvious includes out of the way. Angelic Renewal is another one that does the thing. If you do return it to the battlefield. So whenever a creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may sacrifice Angelic Renewal. This only does it once. I'm sorry. This is an aura. This is not an aura. Sacrifice another creature, you gain life. Oh, Ailey. Don't I wish you were better on your own? Yeah. Whenever you play a non-creature spell counter unless you sacrifice a creature. I've always wanted to use this trigger on Blood Funnel as a sack outlet and then also simultaneously have the cost reduction. But whenever you play a non-creature spell, we're not casting things repeatedly here, sadly. We're activating abilities, which is good in and of itself, but it would be really cool to have that as an added utility. Sacrifice a creature? No. Sacrifice creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. No, don't need overly expensive. Don't need that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with Blasting Station. Unless you have a better sack outlet for me. Because at least Blasting Station, it just wins on the spot. I don't really have to think about anything else. And Blasting Station is just a nice utility in case there is a Drannith Magistrate. You know, we could kill the Drannith Magistrate, or we could just kill our opponents with the same combos we've been discussing. Right? Okay. Ashnod's Altar, the double generic doesn't really help us out too much. Krav, bonus of life draw. I'm sorry, Krav is the big old devil dude, right? Demon, I'm sorry, demon. Sacrifice X creatures, target player draws X cards, you gain X life. Oh, that's kind of cute. You know what I like about this? Is that, I mean, I don't like that Krav is 5 CMC. I have to say that is a little bit of a deterrent here. But I do like the fact that Krav forces other players to draw cards. That could actually be utilized to shut someone out, right? pending mana. I'm thinking about Yawgmoth now as the other potential one. I mean, if we're talking about card draw, what's nice about this, while we are making infinite mana in many of those play lines, what's nice about this is that we gain life for the venturing, and it's good creature removal, and it's draw on top of all of that. So it's actually not that bad an inclusion. I don't think we need another sack outlet, though. And I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, we'll correct that. But let's go ahead with what we have and just add some staple tutors. So demonic tutor, diabolic tutor, imperial seal, vampiric tutor. Any other fun black tutors? I'm like staving off a sneeze. I'm sorry if I've touched my nose too much this video. Vampiric tutor. There are so many tutors. But are there... I'm trying to think if there's like an Orzavian tutor that came out. Is there a new like Orzavian tutor that I'm just not thinking about? I haven't built a Orzhov list in a minute. But on that note, we should probably keep adding stuff. We'd probably add like a Razaketh playline if we were feeling like it. If we really wanted to. We got all the lands we want. Katerin summons. I'm waiting for this to be hyper playable, but it's not yet. Leiden's tutor. Oh, yeah. I want to do... Someone already said it. I'm going to give you points. Wishclaw Talisman, Ruben. Wishclaw Talisman. A must. A must. Is this a Reanimator combo build? Dragon Bear. Such a good question. You mill yourself. Get the cat in the yard. I mean, or you just use Blasting Station to kill people, right? What I like about Blasting Station is the fact that I can use it whether or not I'm trying to venture, and it does the job, right? I just got home. I've missed so much. I am sad. Connor, don't worry. You're here now, and that's all that matters. Do you think Heartless Summoning is worth it if you're going to add the Blink combos? Oh, so Heartless Summoning, guys, is... No, do we add Urza Saga? I don't think so. Heartless Summoning is a enchantment that reduces the cost of creatures by 2 with a minor caveat in that they... sadly, do we use Steel Shaper's Gift? I'll just add it to the side for now. Someone was mentioning something. No. So... Oh, you know what? We do want to open the armory. But the creatures get -1/-1. Here, I'll look at it in a second. -1/-1? -1/-1. Great art on Heartless Summoning. I've never once used it in a deck, but I've always wanted to. Now, bearing in mind, does Lean and Relic Warder die to that? That'd be so cool. This would be a cool way. If the creature needed to die, it would be great if this -1/-1 did it, but it doesn't. But the reduction of 2 makes Barrowin extremely playable, right? I don't know how many creatures we have, though. You do want a certain threshold of creatures for something like Heartless Summoning to be a viable card for the list. That's not to say it isn't right now, but it's certainly something I want to consider. I'm trying to think if Ranger Captain of Eos has any particular targets outside of a potential... it's not gonna... I mean, it could get Viserys here if we really wanted it to, but there's also Esper Sentinel. Feels okay. I'm going to add Stoneforge Mystic to the side. Again, maybe we incorporate a equipment-based combo, but I mean, again, literally to the side. Well, I mean, I do like Stoneforge Mystic for the simple fact that she is a creature and can ETB. I do like Open the Armory because it finds auras, and we do need auras to win the game here. But let me see what you guys are at. Unmarked Grave is cute. Unmarked Grave is really cute. Oh, no, don't want it there. We want it in the main list. That's how much we like Unmarked Grave. I'll be back. Oh my god, MTG, don't leave. Enlightened Tutor. Yeah, Enlightened Tutor's in. Enlightened Tutor's in. And that is probably that for our tutor suite. I'm just trying to see if there's anything of relevance, like, you know, like a suite Call the Gatewatch. Never played. Probably never will be played. Grim Reminder, don't need that. Idyllic Tutor, too expensive. These guys are just too expensive. Opposition Agent is probably going to go on the list. And Dothy Voidwalker is going to go on the list no matter what. Opposition Agent. I do think that Timna is probably going to find her way into this list because draw is always really good. That's it. I don't really want to incorporate any of these other things. Like Recruiter of the Guard is fine. That'll find Lean and Relic Water, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary here. What I would really like are some decent draw utilities. Speaking of, I will add Dark Confidant. It's not a draw utility per se, but you get what I'm saying. Dark Tutelage is also really good. We'll incorporate those. What's sad is that Timna will probably take priority over Barrowin on the cast. Like if I have options to do both, I'll probably just go for Timna. But let's save this out and see where we're at. Tormod is really good with Heartless Summoning. Tormod is really good, you say? Yeah, I bet he would be. Why? It's Tormod. He'll get the full cost reduction. Is that the idea? Yeah, that actually is really nice. And then you could, let me see here. Gravecrawler, I guess, dies to... Well, you might not want the Gravecrawler combos are what I played for when I built a Tormod on the channel. And you don't necessarily want a Heartless Summoning on the battlefield if you're doing Gravecrawler loops. I think that's probably going to be it. Again, I'm thinking to myself, is Razaketh worth it as a reanimate target? And the answer is usually yes. So if there's like a Buried Alive pile, Razaketh could be in that lot. And you can use Razaketh, Lean, and Relic Water and anything else at that point. But basically, if Razaketh is there, you can reanimate. You can get Razaketh back, get the Animate Dead off of sacrificing another creature, an additional creature, using the Animate Dead, setting up the loop for yourself, and then getting all the necessary cards by sacrificing Lean and Relic Water. A finite amount of times to conclude the game. Oh my god. Okay. I don't know why it's never used, but why doesn't anyone use Dream Devourer? Dream Devourer. Did I just pass it? We'll look at it. I quite like Marlin if you're going to use Oppo Agent. Yeah, I feel like... I'll look at this really quick. That's a tough call. Let me just say that. I think that's a tough call. I do think that Heartless Summoning is really good here, guys. Man, I don't know why. It's because that glorious... It's the Glorious Protector line of play. Is that the only blink? I want to look at Exile Target. I'm going to look at Exile Target effects in just a second. That's the next thing that's of the utmost importance to me so far as synergies are concerned. We should also probably just add our fast mana right now because this list is already at 60 cards. But, I'm sorry, the Devourer. Each non-land card in your hand without Foretell has Foretell. Its Foretell cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 2. Okay, that's nice. When you Foretell a card, Dream Devourer gets +2 and... that's pretty cute. I think the Foretell mechanic is sort of overlooked in general. I'm not quite certain it's great for this particular build, but I will add Heartless Summoning. I did like that specific thought, the thought process on that. It is quite good with the way our combo cards work out. It's going to reduce all of them. So you should be able to hardcast this combo fairly easily. But I want to add Mana Crypt, Soul Ring. Let's go crazy. We're going to do Mox Diamond. Oh my god. We don't need all the fast mana per se. Like, we're not trying to rush anything out outside of a few stacks pieces, right? That will hopefully not affect us or our game plan. But Chrome Mox, Mox Diamond, Soul Ring, Mana Crypt. We already did Jeweled Lotus. We already did Lotus Petal. We're not going to add Mox Opal. I don't foresee it being extremely viable. We're not going to add Mox Amber. It's funny, as many times as I do this, I don't remember the names of the signets or the talismans. But we will add like a Arcane Signet. I like Felwar Stone quite a bit. I will add... let me just guess. Signet of... I don't know. The only one I remember is Resplendence. Is that even one? Talisman of Resplendence? Is that even one? Oh, no. The signets are easy. It's the talismans that are getting me. I rarely ever use these unless I'm building a two-colored list, I have to say. Because signets can really kick you in the ass sometimes because the color fixing is so specific. Indulgence is the Rakdos one. Is Resplendence even one? I just need... Resilience is one. Jesus. All right, and it is hierarchy. Oh my god, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. All right. That's a lot of mana. We want to add more, though. Dark Ritual. We want Cabal Ritual. And these might come out. Culling Ritual. No, Culling the Weak. Oh, God. If we can only use Culling Ritual, I would flip. That would be everything. Even Sacrifice would be okay here, but I don't think we need mana like that. At a certain point, we're going to want to power out our combo. So what I'm thinking is, you know, it would be nice to have the excess mana from a card like Sacrifice. Because if Barrowin is just out there for value, it's okay to kill Barrowin, right? Sacrifice a creature to do this, get 4 black mana based on her mana value. So in the same sense, it's almost like Culling the Weak, which is sacrifice a creature, gain 4 black mana. If we kill Barrowin, that is. But this is really cool for killing her, and maybe of the 4 black, we use 2 to reanimate her to set up a line of play. And bearing in mind that we can set up the lean in line of play even if the animate aura is on a separate creature. So that's actually not so bad. Maybe we add Sacrifice for the simple fact that it's going to help us push through combo lines. Because what we're doing requires a lot of mana and 3 cards, 4 cards in some cases, to accomplish the task, right? So we'll do that. Let me see where you guys are. Gruesome Menage a Trois is something I thought would be fun to build around. Gruesome Menagerie. You think it makes sense for this list? Or are we just talking about Gruesome Menagerie? Choose a creature card. Oh, I've seen this before. Yeah, it's tricky though because it's expensive. You need a high amount of 3+ cards for Dream Devourer. It says Sif. I can see that. I like Eldrazi Displacer. Not a win here since we don't have infinite colorless. I can see why you like it though. I can see why you like it for sure. So is Luris. So Luris, we should talk about that now. Luris is good because during each of your turns, you may cast during each of your turns. So not your opponents. It's just like what's that girl that everyone loves? Her name starts with a K. Why don't I remember her name? Kess. You may cast 1 permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. So, God, don't I wish Phyrexian Altar were not 3? So, in an ideal situation, you'd be able to get back a game-winning card. And in this instance, it could be your Lean and Relic Water. It could be the Animate Dead that's there. There's a couple of things in there that are pretty viable. We'll add Luris for now. I like Luris. Again, I don't know if Luris sticks, but I like Luris. This is sort of a precautionary measure, a backup, will you? I don't think it's going to be fantastic, but it's certainly something we can do. Yeah, why not? Actually, I might add Sensei's Divining Top in this particular list because the card quality will be useful. And right now, I want to take a gander at exile target. Just that. I already know some of the ones I want to incorporate, but I want to look at the ones I am not thinking of. Kunaros and Luris, maybe? Kunaros is the Hound. Is Kunaros... Hold up. Is this dude just your opponents? Creature cards and graveyards can't enter the battle. See, now this is not good for us because our reanimate lines require... This shuts us down. If this was just our opponents, then I would say it's quite good. I think that due to the nature of our own combo, we could probably get away with some Rule of Law effects and some cards that shut down Storm List. Not necessarily the taxes, but things like a Damping Sphere in certain scenarios are quite good. And also things like Void Mirror are very good. We'll get to that in a second. All right. I'm on my knees and I'm begging. Cloud Shift. Exile a target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, gain 3 life. Otherwise, draw a card. Oh, damn. I really like Cling to Dust, but never seems to do enough. Sadly. I do like it, though. Okay, so there's Ephemerate. Ephemerate's sort of the big one. And I don't know how much is too much when it comes to cards like this, because Blacksmith Skill is going to go in for sure. We'll add Cloud Shift for now, but I want to see if there's not a better one Obviously, this is good because of the rebound, but you shouldn't need too many of these, right? And these are specifically blinks for the list. And we want them to be blinks so that we can utilize them for protection. Oh, a portable hull. Portable hull. Oh man, portable hull is so damn good. Okay, so portable hull, I wish it allowed us to... You know what's interesting? Maybe we do use Fiend Hunter. Is Fiend Hunter our opponents? When we get to Fiend Hunter, I'll read Fiend Hunter. How about that? I guess we should just add Swords to Plowshare and those things right now. Swords to Plowshare. I like Fracture a lot. Nope. Not swirling. Whatever the hell that was. Swords to Plowshares. I also want to add Fracture, if that's the one I'm thinking of. And I would like to add at least Fragmentize. And I'm going to say that's adequate for now. I don't think there's any enchantments that are really going to be damning for us. But if we need Feed the Swarm, we can add Feed the Swarm. I don't think we will. But I could be wrong. Savine's Reclamation already in. No, but Savine's is quite good. Savine's is quite good. Savine's is nice because you can unmarked grave it or you can entomb it, and it'll help you recover a card from your graveyard without the side effect of something like a Yawgmoth's Will exiling things that go to your graveyard from then on out. That's not a bad idea. So it's in, is what I'm saying. Vile Rebirth. Exile target creature card from a graveyard. So there are also the effects like... We'll see if we get to them. The ones where you single target a creature. If it dies this turn, bring it back. Like the Unnatural Strengths of the World. I think that's what it's called. Those actually wouldn't be so bad here with our sack outlets, right? Those are just another way to repeatedly go through ventures. But obviously, doing it with a flicker effect is just better. It's just easier. Doesn't rely on anything else. Exile another creature you own, returns the battlefield under his owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Charming Prince. Charming Prince. Have I overlooked you, you human noble? I don't think so. I don't think I've overlooked Charming Prince. I don't think he's good here. Although I really like the idea for just a hot second. You can tell me. Do you want Charming Prince in this list? Here. Let's make it official. Charming Prince in this list? Okay. I feel like knowing you guys are going to say yes. Yes, definitely. Exile target creature you control, then returns to the battlefield under owner's control against first strike. I think anything in that 2 realm is a little expensive. Although I do want to start looking at other permanents to do the same thing as the Protector does. And obviously I would also like to look at our... Fiend Hunter in just a second. There might be something to do with Livio, but I feel like that setup is going to be very, very taxing on us. And I would rather not. Unless Livio was in the partner slot. But Vanishing Verse. I like Vanishing Verse. I want to see how it performs here. It's been one I've wanted to test. I just don't have a list for it right now. Exile target creature control, return to the battlefield under its... See, now Acrobatic Maneuver... damn it. I like to draw a card, but I don't like the 3 mana. I can deal with it if it's a creature. Well, let's just say that. Exile... Enter the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls. Okay. So Fiend Hunter, I just want to see if it lets me exile my own thing. I forget if it does. And we'll find out in just a second. Elite Spellbinder. Is anyone on this card? You know, it looked really tempting when it came out, but I'm not certain it's worth it. Exile target non-white attacking creature. You gain life equal to its toughness. Nah, it's never going to happen, bud. Not for you. You may exile another target creature. Okay, so this does work. What is the name of that reanimate spell that reanimates creatures of 3 or less? Oh my lord. It's 1 mana, it has cycling, it will reanimate a creature of 3 or less. I'm going to put Fiend Hunter in for now. Oh my god, with the Charming Prince. You people with the Charming Prince. You should probably add Asarak the Archlich as backup. It's also pretty good as backup. I think Sif, if we spoke on the Archlich earlier, if we need backup, there are other lines that are pre-existing in the list already. Whereas Archlich is solely there as a backup venture. We have combos that don't care about venture as well. And those are going to be what we're going to rely on as a fail-safe scenario. So I'm not too concerned about having another venture, creature in the list. Although I do think that one is actually quite good. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it would be worth it. Let me get a look at the Archlich really quick. He's 3 to cast, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's 3 to cast. Let's pull him up really quick. I just want to see if there's another thing that does what the Protector does. I really don't think so. Okay, I love Skyclave Apparition. I really don't think so. Let's get to that Angel and then we'll stop there. Enters the battlefield. Wait up. Enters the battlefield. Exile all cards from target player's graveyard. No, we don't need that. Shan't need that. Conclave Tribunal. Oh, we should probably put in, I guess, Deadly Rollick. A little iffy on it. Felidar Guardian. Felidar Guardian is fine. Felidar Guardian's fine. Unearth, thank you. Unearth. Unearth is the one I'm thinking of. I like Unearth quite a bit. We've got a lot of creatures that will love Unearth. Leyline of the Void, Planner Void. I think that Leyline of the Void might have a place here. Well, my issue with Planner Void is that it stuns. While we are comboing Planner Void isn't as atrocious because we could stack the triggers however we will, but it's inescapable elsewise. I think Leyline is fine. I don't mind that so much. We can't go with a Rest in Peace. Everything we use needs to be single-sided, right? So Dothy Voidwalker is good. Leyline of the Void is good. These are going to be very helpful against any sort of Underworld Breach strategies. And we can sort of just use those and probably be fine. Restoration Angel enters the battlefield, may exile target non. I think just having the one Angel is probably enough. I just hate that both those are 4 CMC. It really pigeonholes us. That's quite a lot of mana. That is quite a lot of mana. All right, let's just look where the list is now with what we have. I think I even added Cloud Shift. But let me see where you guys are with this poll. Oh my... All right, you all want the Charming Prince. Not all of you. Y'all want the Charming Prince. All right. We're going to add Charming Prince. Who knows? He might pull in a lot of weight. He might be the best card in this list. But the Archlich enters the battlefield if you haven't completed the Tomb of Annihilation, which is the one we kind of want to complete. Return Archlich to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. So is there a combo line outside of the 2 I've seen? There's a blue enchantment that lets us play zombies for free or something like that. It's a blue combo. Is there a fun combo line with this? I mean, I guess you could use this in the same way you would use the Protector and Felidar Guardian. Whenever it attacks each opponent, you create a 2/2 black creature token unless that player sacrifices a creature. That's kind of cute. It just is okay. Y'all seem really interested in it. I think that we can add it for now. Again, I don't think that this redundancy is necessary, though. I feel like these slots are better suited for other things, but who knows? I'm going to highlight what our combo lines are in a second, and we'll be able to gather whether it's necessary or not at that point. Can't say no to those eyes. Heartless makes them cost 1. We should just make an asterisk list then. We just make an asterisk list. Because if we made an asterisk list... Hold up. Wait. Because the combo I really wanted to play was Priest of Gix, Sack Outlet. It could be Ashnod's Altar. It could be... it would need to be Ashnod's Altar. Priest of Gix, Ashnod's Altar, Nim Deathmantle, Infinite Black Mana, and then you would be able to do the thing. But I think you could also get by with... I think you could get by with a Gravecrawler combo as well for infinite mana. You would need, like... You would need additional... You would need excess mana. I would need to figure that out. That's a different list. Sol Ring's in the list, broski. It should be. There you go. Okay. What about Kaya Orzhov Usurper as a value walker that can get rid of low CMC cards? So I actually really like all the Kayas, and maybe this is the day where we play Kaya, because I've always liked. I like Ghost Assassin. I need to read over the Orzhov Usurper. I'm pretty sure she's fine. The new one's just okay. Isn't there a combo with her? I forget. Deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. Whenever an opponent attacks with planeswalker you control, one or more creatures deals 2 damage. That's kind of cute. And this other card is actually pretty decent. The options on this one is pretty decent. Okay. Kaya Orzhov Usurper. 3 loyalty counters. Oh, I'm talking like that. +1. Exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. Okay. Exile a target non-land permanent with converted mana cost of 1 or less. That's really good for getting rid of like the Grafdigger's Cage, things like that. That's not so bad. Deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards that player owns in exile. Okay. What I like about this is the Ghost Assassin is you can replenish her tokens, but moreover, you can use this with our girl, right? I'm trying to think if there's another. So return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of your next upkeep. Right. That kind of sucks. It's a little harsh. But this is actually a really cool way to utilize Barrowin as well. Having a repeatable exile engine like this. We would need other bodies to make sure that she stays around. But it's actually quite good. And again, she can sort of replenish herself. But it's also really good for card advantage. I do think that 4 is a little high, but it's still quite good. But the top effect is what's really important to me. So maybe we add in at least Kaya Ghost Assassin. Ghost Assassin. And definitely want to add in our best friend Karn. Not the Great Creator. No. Is it the Great Creator? I think it might be the Great Creator. That is the one that is a null rod. I forget the name. Yeah, okay. And I want to add in Void Mirror. It's really good for stopping like those fast combos. I think that might be... We'll need to look at our stack suite and our removal as well. And I guess Lumbering Battlement does the same as Fiend Hunter, but cost 5. Shambling Ghast. It was a ghast. Choose one. Brave the stench. Not sure we're going to use Shambling Gas, but it's fine. Let's look at the whole deck. Let's just overview the whole deck, why don't we? Did you like that Backyardigans reference with the name of this deck? Ugh. Tell me. Comment section down below. Okay, so, gang, we got a lot of cards, but we're not at 100 yet. So let's talk about what we're missing and what the list is doing. For anyone who's trying to catch up with what's been going on, we're going to go over everything right now. Oh, what the hell? There's new art. God, that's reason enough. Am I wrong? Is that not reason enough? Okay, so how the hell did Diabolic Intent, not Diabolic. Okay, before we can even look at this, oh my gosh, who put Diabolic Tutor in here? Was that one of you? Was that one of you? It would never be me. I would never do that. That would be crazy. Now we'll look at the list. Okay, so we are relying on one of 3 play lines to win us the game. 2 of them rely on infinite mana, 1 does not. Phyrexian Altar and any sack outlet plus the Pitiless Plunderer, in tandem with Boonweaver Giant and Kaya's Ghost Form, and or Leonin Relic Warder and any one of 3 aura enchantments that bring back creatures from the grave, right? So that's actually a pretty broad scope of cards. Lurrus is in here for potential value, but I think our 2 CMC slot is kind of scant, and most of our important cards... The ones we don't have redundancies for are 3. I'm going to toss this off to the side for now. The other combo is Glorious Protector. When Glorious Protector enters the battlefield, you may exile any number of non-angel creatures you control. Glorious Protector leaves until Glorious Protector leaves the battlefield. So you would use that with the card directly above it. Felidar Guardian, 2 bounce, both Felidar Guardian, Barrowin. They come back in. Felidar Guardian bounces Glorious Protector. You see what's going on here. To end this loop, you simply stop targeting one creature over the other, right? But you're never going to do that because you're going to try to win the game right there and then by doing this. So if you had to stop the combo for some reason, that's how you would do it. Razaketh is fine. I think that I'm not certain we have enough bodies for this to be really leveraged, but what's nice about Razaketh is that the Leonin line of play works so well in tandem with Razaketh to give us all of our fast mana, to give us all the utilities we need to accomplish this task quickly. Despite the fact that we are shy of creatures, and I don't think 14 is really a lot, this is still a healthy amount for Razaketh to work. So long as there are at least 2 creatures, I think we can get the ball rolling. Particularly if we have like an Animate Dead in hand or in our graveyard, we should be able to leverage it that way. Okay, we have Blasting Station as a potential sack outlet in cases where we want to win the game and we don't have access to our girl. We also have Phyrexian Altar. This is how we make infinite mana with said creature lines, the Boonweaver as well as Leonin. We have a lot of ramp here. So we're not using Grim Monolith and we're not using Mana Vault. Those aren't necessary for us here. And I think a Mana Vault would be maybe the only potential other inclusion. But the way this works, a lot of our core cards are reanimate targets. And we're probably going to rely on cheating them out anyhow. So I'm not too concerned about having the Mana Vault, despite the fact that it would work very well to push our, our 1, an outlet, and 2, infinite mana. I don't think it's necessary. So, since it's on top, that's just for card quality. I think we have all the fast mana we want. I always miss something or other down here, but that's fine. We'll figure that out as we go along. And that's it for this. That's really all we needed there. Kaya's Ghost Form. Again, we can add in Gift of Immortality, and I think there is one other card that works in tandem with Boonweaver Giant, but it's not absolutely necessary. Also, bear in mind that we can add in some other utilities for Boonweaver. It doesn't need to be a combo necessarily. We can also utilize him to pull other combo pieces, should we like, and or just good cards to beat face, pending the scenario. Animate Dead, all good. Heartless Summoning's cost reducer. Dark Tutelage is one of my favorite draw utilities. I do think that Dark Confidant and Dark Tutelage, Dark Confidant should be in here too. They're going to be pretty painful sometimes, sadly, because the list is pretty high CMC. Like, we might even say that we can Ixnay the Boonweaver A and be fine. Maybe we do that because I think between... I like this combo more than I like the Boonweaver line of play. Even if Boonweaver pulls the thing for us, we could probably rely on just Leonin Relic Warder just to give ourselves less damage off of the Dark Confidant, because Razaketh is already a lot. This is reducing our creature count, but that's okay. Do we keep Kaya's Ghost Form? I still think it's fine, as a matter of fact. I'll leave it for now. And Blacksmith skill, I want to add a few more protective pieces. Target permanent gains. Protection. Yep. I'm going to do just this. Come on. I'll see what we got in black and white. I don't think it's going to broaden the pool that much, but I'm curious. Deadly Rollick removal. Swords of Plowshares removal. I don't think we need that much removal, but we also have Vanishing Verse. We also have Fracture for artifacts, enchantments, yada yada. It's nice because it's instant speed. It is 2 mana, so it is a little costly. We have Cloud Shift and Ephemerate. Ephemerate is just hands down better, so if we needed to remove one, it would be Cloud Shift, but I think we can keep both. We don't have very many ET beers outside of... Yeah, that sucks. Glorious Protector is kind of cute, but it's like we need decent ET beers, and we don't really have them outside of Charming Prince. For these to work outside of Barrowin, so there's really not much for these two. I still think we'll keep both for now. Planeswalkers are fine, and our sorcery speed spells are totally fine. This is a really good suite of sorcery spells. We'd even add in a little bit more reanimation if we wanted. And yeah, that's it. We need 8 cards. Pitiless Plunderer, again, works with the Leonin line of play just automatically. It's just infinite mana. If we wanted something to do with that infinite mana, we can find other solutions for this list too. If we find like that this is an easier combo line to get to, we might even remove this. If it's not something we play for, then we can set up other lines of play. Trying to think if there's good Necrotic Ooze setup. Good Necrotic Ooze setup with Razaketh and Buried Alive. Really not. There's probably nothing there. Okay. Which dungeon are you going to loop? All of them, probably. If the list is so high CMC, add Trinisphere. Well, let's look at that now. So we've got our curve here, right? And let's see here. We've got 10 cards, 18 cards, 19 cards. So 19 cards are above 3. And then a majority of these are under. So I think the Trinisphere, most of our combo elements are costly. I still think we want to, I think we want to avoid the tax effects. Praetor's Grass and Demonic Consultation Tainted Pact. Is this, I mean, Praetor's Grass is fine. It's good denial. In most cases, Praetor's Grass, if you're using it for value, is just going to find someone else's mana crypt, right? And that's good if it's in their list still. If you mean like a Praetor's Grass and then we want to utilize their Thassa's Oracle, that's completely separate. I think you still need the colored mana for that, but I'm okay on that. Persist from MH2. Persist. Return target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a -1/-1 counter. I think that... Trying to think of reanimate spells that might be better than this. I don't think that this is better. Wait up. Corpse Dance. It's instant speed. It's just your graveyard. You exile at the next end step, unfortunately. Right? There's also Shallow Grave at instant speed. How do we feel about Persist? Unearth is in the list. Unearth is definitely in the list. There's also the Orzhov Signet, or not Orzhov Signet, Orzhov Charm. That only grabs 1 CMC creatures, I think. But that's like another clean way to get a creature out of your graveyard. The only 1 CMC creature I would want to drag out is Esper Sentinel, which we need to add now. And I think what we do want to add are Rule of Law effects. A handful. We also want to add Drannith Magistrate. We're going to increase our creature count right now with Hate Bears, right? So Drannith Magistrate, Esper Sentinel, definitely must. So far as creatures, I think Aethersworn Canonist is a good one for us. Aethersworn Canonist. I don't mind Archon of Ameria, right? I also like... There's a lot of good Hate Bears in Orzhov. We already have the Dothi Voidwalker. We can still use Aven Mind Sensor. I don't think that Aven Mind Sensor's out just because Opposition Agent is in. Hit me up with some Hate Bears you want to see. Let's do that. Hit me up with them Hate Bears. Because there's a handful more I can think of, like the big Thalia. I might want to include. Not Guardian of Throbbin, but Heretic Cathar. Right, I like this one. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield. It's tapped. That non-basic land business is legit. It actually like stumps a lot of people. I don't mind that at all. You on Yogg's Will or Chains? No, they're just not. They're not absolutely necessary here. I think that Yogg's Will might have wings. It might be okay, but it's not necessary. The only unfortunate bit is like we're not really storming, and Yogg's Will is generally reserved for storm list. I think Savine's Reclamation is going to be our good recovery piece, if anything, outside of the reanimate spells, right? So that's likely enough. And our land base can alter, but we're going to play with what we have for now. I do think the land base here can be altered. Ooh, someone said Deafening Silence. That's a card I like. I wish we had Root Maze in this list. Feigned Death is close to Kaya's Ghost Form, but not quite as good. Oh, I think we might even take Kaya's Ghost Form out, though. I do want to add that MDFC though, that the MDFC that's a swamp, but also if the creature dies this turn, you bring it back. What is the name of that MDFC? I would love to know. Linvala, Keeper of Silence. It's only good if you cast it though, Ruben. Eidolon of Rhetoric is good. I think Eidolon, so I want to add Thalia Heretic Cathar. I like her a lot. I don't know if I've added her yet, but I will add her now. I think Linvala, Keeper of Silence is just costly. And I'm not really too concerned about activated creatures. I mean, I don't really see that many Heliod's, but I don't see that many Walking Ballistic combos utilized against me. It's really sad. My meta is just a lot of Thassa's Oracle, guys. But again, if you do deal with a lot of creature-based strategies with activated creatures, like there's a really pesky Thrasios, then yeah, you know, use a Cursed Totem, use a Linvala. But me personally, I don't think I need it. Draneth is in. I do want ETBs. I do. Malachor Rebirth. Agadim's Awakening, I will also add. And we're going to just switch up our land base ever so slightly. We could also add a land base that favors... Tainted Pact. Only to be able to utilize it as a tutor, right? But I'm not too concerned about manipulating someone else's deck with what was suggested earlier, the Praetor's Grasp. I think I'm okay on the Praetor's Grasp with this particular deck. But those MDFCs are going to help make out some of our land base here. Malachor Rebirth is what I was thinking of. Thank you, guys. I do De La Bamba. I did want some decent ETBers. If you can think of some that you like, let me know. And if you think there's any equipment that would be viable in this list, I know someone said Skull Clamp earlier. I also read the Spirit of the Labyrinth. Like, I like that card. We probably could use it. Skull Clamp, though, I don't know if we have enough creatures that die to this. Man, I want to put it in because I want to use Stoneforge Mystic. That would really help us out. But I also don't know if our land base is solid because I did just take out 6 lands. I think I took out 6 lands. Have to look at that in a second. Hushbringer. Oh, you know what? Because we don't have that many ETBers. The issue with Hushbringer, mind you, is the simple fact that she shuts off our own combo, whereas a Torpor Orb would shut off our combo too. Torpor Orb would definitely shut off our combo, depending on which one you're looking at. But Hushbringer shuts off both lines of combo, so maybe not. Maybe not Hushbringer. Arcana's in. Would she have been good as an artifact creature deck, like bringing back Scrap Trawler and Cloister Gargoyle? Let me just look at this really quick. Whenever enters the venture. This is just, I mean, you're looking at doing the venture outside of the commander. You could find a way to do this in any list, right? If you want to use a Cloister Gargoyle combo and there's a good line of play for it, then I might suggest utilizing a list that has more tutors for that. Maybe this is where you'd use the Esper commander, right? Because there's plenty of artifact tutors in blue. Plague Crafter. Does Mentor of the Meek have some targets here? So far as bodies that we can draw off of, I don't think so. If you want ETBs, when I make a black deck, I usually run Fleshbag effects. So you mean, someone just said Plague Crafter, right? So if you guys don't know Plague Crafter, it's pretty dope. Plague Crafter usually just hits itself. This is kind of the best of the flesh bags, if we want to call them that. But each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each player who doesn't discards a card. So no matter what, you're going to get them on some end. It's actually quite good in that regard. So we can add Plague Crafter. I don't mind that. But maybe only there's a new Adventures in the Forgotten Realms one? Wait. Oh, Forgotten Realm Commander. Oh, man, I was really hoping there was like a new art for it. That would be amazing. Sword of Hearth and Home, since it gives blink, but probably not when we are running one-offs through and through. Sword of Hearth and Home, though, I don't mind. Again, you know, anytime I have like tutor that can do a thing, like we have the Open the Armory, so if this comes up situationally and is good for us, but it's a lot to start up. right? And then the protection from green and white is not that great because I feel like most of the removal we see is gonna be blue or black. Okay. Whenever a quick creature deals damage, exile up to one target creature you own, then search your library for basic lands. Put those. I don't hate this. Obviously, we wouldn't want to equip this onto Barrowin because we lose the utility. We would have to equip this every single time. And this isn't a dedicated list for Voltron, so this is kind of high costed. But I do like the effect, and damn, do I love the art of some of these. Like, I would really love to play with this old border, right? I'm going to skip on the Sword of Hearth and Home for now, but I like the suggestion quite a bit. What's Blowout? Jace, Thassa, Labman with Angel's Grace, best white card. Let's Blowout. Yeah, you could do Angel's Grace, I guess. If we want one more form of interaction, guys, let me know. I think this card would be good, right? Faith's Shield. Target permanent you control gains protection from the color of your choice until the end of turn. This is a good way to make sure that you can get in with those attacks for Tymna. This is also just a great way to ensure that you have protection on any of your permanents, namely the Phyrexian Altar. And, you know, as I keep looking at this, I feel like Mana Vault would be okay. I don't know, but Sun Titan? Sun Titan's fine. Sun Titan is also a combo card, right? Wait up. Enters the battlefield, you may return target permanent card with a mana value of 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's almost like using Boonweaver Giant, but we just did take out Boonweaver Giant. Plaguecrafter combo as well with Malachor Rebirth as a bonus. Yeah. Yeah, is the Recruiter in? It's not right now, but it could be. And okay, costly but casual Suntine loves. Well, I feel like Boonweaver is like the route I was going for the casual fun times, but I'm going to put Boonweaver off to the side. I will add a Mana Vault, and I will add lastly, not the Recruiter. Oh man, so many good suggestions. I feel like I'm going to add the Face Shield for now, and we'll call it there. And I need to remove one card, if I'm not mistaken, the way this is built out right now. And it's probably, sadly, going to be Kaya's Ghost form. I don't want to say that. But it lost its utility as a combo card. That doesn't make it a bad card. Okay. Here's how we're going to do this. Oh, our land base is probably low right now, right? Yeah, it is. So we've got 26, 27 lands. Yeah, we need at least a handful more lands. Wow, yeah, we definitely need more lands. Okay, so we're going to need to take out one of these. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. Okay. It's going to be Pitiless Plunderer for now. Sorry, buddy. We've got enough going for us. This is going to be 99, right? And I might want to take out one more card. God, I know you guys want Charming Prince. I know you want it. But I don't think it's necessary. I don't think this guy's necessary either. Although I do like doubling down on the Venture. I don't think it's necessary. If we find... I'm going to leave Charming Prince because it synergies well with our girl. But that's it. I will go ahead now and add 2 more lands. And those lands are going to be... I don't know. Do we have Mana Confluence? Got City of Traders. City of Brass, yeah. We'll add a Tarnished Citadel, because we don't care about our life, and a Phyrexian Tower. How about that? Why not? Tarnished Citadel, Phyrexian Tower. And that will cap this list. Is this the most optimal land base? Potentially not. If you guys are going to take this and manipulate it, I'll encourage you to go ahead and look over the land base as well to suit your needs. But I think that this is going to be adequate for our testing right now. Okay, cool. What about Flump? What about Flump? Titan also combos with Fiend Hunter and Blasting Station, right? It does. I know. Hugs House of Horrors. I've never been hugged in a House of Horror. I guess, like, the arm grasping from scared friend or lover might be considered a hug. How's it going? It's going well, man. You can pick up your deck with Angel's Grace and Adnaz. You could. Boseiju, Cavern of Souls. I hate Cavern of Souls, but you can run it if you want. What do you think of Guardian of Faith? Before we playtest, I will look at Guardian of Faith. What do I think about Guardian of Faith? Let's find out. Enters the battlefield. Any number of other creatures you control phase out. Huh. So it's not... Oh, I think the blink is better for us in this instance, but that's kind of cool. It's like an odd form of protection is what this is. Now, mind you that phasing, they're still on the battlefield, so if you had like a Bitter Blossom Fairies or something, you could phase them out and they will return, right? They don't ever leave where they are. It's as if they just don't exist. So this is kind of a cool form of protection. I think the generic double white is just a little much, asking just a little much. Okay, so this is okay. And why this is okay is that I at least have a way to set up for Opposition Agent very quickly on turn 2. I've got a way to drag her ass back out, but I also have 1 of 3 combo cards here with a way to recur it should I need, which is actually quite good if I find a sack outlet, because then I can start doing the Barrowin thing, Dance of the Dead, Barrowin, Hall of Helion's Generosity. You get the idea. I can sort of rinse and repeat that. But is this a exciting hand to watch played out? No. So we're going to try this again. Like a half-assed Teferi's Protection. Yeah, and even Teferi's Protection isn't utilized that often, sadly. So this is an interesting setup. We'll keep this because it's quicker, but I don't think it's quite good. I'm sorry, this should have been... We're going to play under the assumption that Gemstone Caverns, this is not accessible. We're going to play under the assumption that we're off the play and that we can get the most out of this. I think in this particular instance, Sacrifice is probably the least likely to be important to us. We can use this to get our scrub lands. Let's just do that now. That Tarnished Citadel is in our hand. As a matter of fact, I will shuffle here. Yes, this is a very slow hand, but it is a hand, and we can just feign like we have some form of interaction. Speaking of interaction, Imp's Mischief would have been really dope. Imp's Mischief is a really dope card, so I would encourage you to play that. Wow, don't I wish I had that in my starter. Dark Confidant here. So, to be perfectly honest with you, well, I need to do 2 things. Barrowing. The dungeon we're going to go into is probably going to be one, because looking at our hand right now, we're going to put down the Caves of Koilos. The only reason I would want to do her right now is the fact that we have the Deadly Rollick up, right? So we'll do generic there. We'll do whatever. We'll sacrifice this. She enters the battlefield. Now, does this let me create token dungeons? Oh my god, it does. Okay, so let's just look at our dungeons really quick. I think genuinely the Lost Mine is probably the best option. Hear me out. The treasure gain on the second entry is actually really useful for us because our combos are expensive. I do want to get Dark Confidant down very soon. Dark Confidant looks at the top of our deck. That's relevant. So scrying is kind of important. It would be more important if it was on the battlefield right now. But we're probably going to go through this and then likely go to mine tunnels. We also have the option of doing a dungeon in the Mad Mage. I think that we're going to do Lost Mine of Fandelver, though. Let's do that. So we'll enter Scry 1. I'm going to shuffle my library. Did I shuffle earlier? I'll just shuffle now. So this is on top. I'm going to ship that to the bottom of my deck. Move to library bottom. All right, so we are good. Let's move. Yay, something seemingly useful. So again, Deadly Rollick, nice to have up. She can now attack. That's cool. I think we're probably going to go for the Dark Confidant here at this point, as well as this Felwar Stone. And we would do so by doing generic. We'll use the Felwar Stone for the black, presumably, and we would do the Dark Confidant. Let's just say we need to use the Deadly Rollick off turn. Oh, damn. We're really out of cards. We are going to draw a card. This is the Dark Confidant card, and then we'll draw a card. Okay. Thank you for the draw effects. Game. Thank you for the draw effects. The Felidar Guardian is really sweet here. I think that the way this is playing out, the Diabolic Intent, the nearest line of play would be to Diabolic Intent the Glorious Protector, using Felidar Guardian to bounce her right now and setting up for another turn. Unfortunately, we've not relied on any stacks to sort of dictate how the game is being played right now. But to get us to a win, just to see how it functions, why don't we just go ahead and do the obvious thing? Our hand is telling us to do something, very clearly right here. And that would be Felidar Guardian and Esper Sentinel, right? Get one more use out of Dark Confidant before we Diabolic Intent it to get our Glorious Protector. Hope being we find one of our protection pieces so that we can make sure this goes off without a hitch if no one's already won at this point. So we're going to bounce her. We're going to go into the Treasure Mine. Also with the Diabolic Intent, that Goblin wouldn't be bad, but we're going to just go for the Treasure to give us a little bit more mana, provided we are able to win right now. I don't see treasures, so we're going to go with the Atropal. This is our treasure. This guy is our treasure. Because it didn't want to give us treasure tokens here for some reason. Very weird. All right. So we've got that. And Esper Sentinel. So it would be like this. Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to assume at this stage of the game on turn 4 that people do have the mana to pay for Esper Sentinel. Let's just say that one person wasn't able to, right? Give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. Okay, we pull into Aghadim's Awakening. We see off the top Portable Hole. We draw for turn, Enlightened Tutor. Okay. That's no good. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. And we need exactly that much to do what we want to do right now. We can do Aghadim's Awakening, and we'd flip this card over. Lose the life. Not that this is going to really help us in this scenario, but we're going to do that anyways. But let's just illustrate the combo and then see if we can set up another game where the combo goes off a little bit more smoothly. But when you use these two, again, we're going to get rid of the Dark Confidant. Again, the Goblin would have been nice, but whatever. Glorious Protector. Cool. And we can sort of do this at any point we want. We don't need to do this now. No one knows we have this as an option. Which is what's nice about this. So what I would recommend in this scenario, if you have Felidar Guardian down, which is there. I'm sorry, I moved it. So in this scenario, if you have the Felidar Guardian down, just wait, because the Glorious Protector has flash. So you can act like you're holding this for any other reason. And provided this doesn't work out off turn, you still have the Enlightened Tutor to go off of. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. So let's just go ahead and do this off turn. Someone's trying to combo. We do our Glorious Protector. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have mana available if we had protection. I wish we did. But she's going to target Felidar Guardian, Barrowin. They're going to enter the battlefield. She's going to go to each opponent loses 1 life. You gain 1 life. Sounds good. Felidar Guardian's going to see Glorious Protector. Bounce Glorious Protector. We've seen how this line of play works just based off illustrations earlier. We win the game. And this, again, would be off turn. And it would be turn 4. It was turn 4 or turn 5. I don't remember. All right. What do you think about that? How was that? Was that okay? I'm going to get to some of your thoughts. I want to take a quick respite here to drink water. I'm going to go back over to YouTube on my laptop, and I want to just go over what you guys think about how this game plan is working out. Let me just preface by saying we were very fortunate with how we top deck there. And games can go, either left or right. But we drew into some really decent draw utilities. And even getting the 1 card off the top with the Esper Sentinel wasn't crucial. But I just want to give us the benefit of the doubt to see if we could find some form of protection to make certain that this goes off. But due to the nature of that combo, it's really cool that we can win out over top of someone else or over top of a stacked piece being played. That's nice. In this instance, we would just do something to gain life, and then, we would just go through that same tomb we started, because we gain life and everyone loses life at instant speed. Really cool. But what do you guys think? Very interested to know what cards you want to see in the list. Draw would be really nice. We found a lot of it, though, so maybe more draw. I would like an Imps Mischief. What out is this deck playing to? It's Arturo. It is a venture deck. It is straight up venture deck. So we're trying to win with venturing. If that doesn't work out, we do have Blasting Station lines of play. And Blasting Station will work in tandem with our Lean and Relic Water. Now, as a reanimate target, I'm trying to think in that same scenario. we had a lot of creatures, and I would have definitely gone for the goblin if I was able to go for a reanimate line of play with Razaketh, because that extra body would have been so crucial to find the combo pieces, right? As well as additionally having protection. I don't mind Hushwing Griff, although it does stunt Barrowin from winning on the spot, right? You need to start with the angel. I don't think you understand how this works. You need to start with the angel. When Glorious Protector enters the battlefield, you may exile any number of non-angel creatures you control until Glorious Protector leaves the battlefield. So yeah. Ooh. So she'll leave, Felidar Guardian would leave, and then we would need to get her ass off the battlefield. So it would be Felidar Guardian on top of her. Who recommended this combo? Wait up. Felidar Guardian would see her if it was in my hand, bounce her. She would come back. This would leave the battlefield and never come back. Who suggested this combo? This is it's not going to work either way, but I'm still curious to hear your thoughts on the list. Obviously, this seems like a non-functioning loop, but I could be wrong. You may exile any number of non-angel creatures you control until... I don't like this anymore. So you would stack it so that Felidar Guardian... That's no good. Okay. Let me see where you guys are at. I don't think we need Grand Abolisher. If you want to add Grand Abolisher, you can. It's more important, obviously, if you're trying to combo out at sorcery speed, but Grand Abolisher wouldn't have done too much for us there. And we were really out of a hand quickly, too. And Grand Abolisher doesn't really give us a hand, it just gives us protection, which was kind of unnecessary in that particular scenario. I think Grand Abolisher is used more oftentimes than not in lists that are trying to combo out very quickly and also are storming, so they might have the excess mana to accommodate for a Grand Abolisher to just make certain that their shit goes off. No blue deck. Deck is Dookie. Yeah, Dath, you're so wrong, but that's okay. Mana Tithe and Lapse of Certainty. I like Mana Tithe. Okay, so this line of play, I'm not quite liking. And here, we'll go back. I see now. Glorious Protector's final bit of text there. Not as good. Any number of non-angel creatures you control until she leaves the battlefield. So if she enters the battlefield, this doesn't work. If he enters the battlefield, he or she, exile another target permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield. Okay, so you would exile this. It's the same scenario, though. You would need to remove her ass, which never occurs. So, Boonweaver Giant it is. Let's go ahead and add some of the utilities. I like Mana Tithe. I like Mana Tithe. I would like an Imp's Mischief. I would like these things. How about Resto Angel? So there's a couple of creatures that do this. Let's just go ahead and see if there isn't a way to salvage this. I'll look at Resto. I don't know if Restoration Angel is multiple targets, though. Yeah. So we need something that hits multiple targets and blinks them on the spot. The Protector combo, I did not read her thoroughly, but whomever suggested it, out. You're out. You suggest no more combos. Or you can. Let's just make sure that they work. Okay. Exile, creature, is a creature. Needs to hit multiple creatures. Resto Angel only hits the one, right? It would be nice. It would be nice. Felidar Guardian is cute for the list still, right? I do like its effect in the game, but enters the battlefield, so target creature and opponent controls. Nope. We do have the Fiend Hunter. We still want that Sun Titan? You still want that Sun Titan? We can do it. We can do it. Mavinda. You may cat. Nope. Don't want that. You may exile another creature card from your graveyard. No. Okay. It's probably going to be very expensive. Whatever we look at is going to be very expensive. I've got a gut feeling. If there is an angel that does this, she going to be expensive. Exile target creature and opponent controls. No. Don't want that for 4. Enters the battlefield, exile it unless you sacrifice. No. God, what? No. Stop. Stop with these cards. Whenever Gale Powder Mage attacks. No. Stop. Oh, the gelatinous cube. I wish. Enters the battlefield. Oh, you let me down, girl. You let me down. Pretending it did work, though, it was really sluggish, and I would have wanted more happening prior to that combo turn. Just not the best hand. You may exile a target non-angel creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield. We need to be able to do it to multiple creatures. If you guys have one, let me know. Give me Sunboy! Give me Sunboy. Any sack outlet, Karmic Guide, and Revel Arc. But see, we're trying to venture here. The title of the video is Let's Venture, not Let's Rival Arc. Isn't Rival Arc 2 power or less? I forget how it reads. God. Lark. 2 power or less from your graveyard. No. I'm not gonna. No. Not doing it. Not doing it. I wanted a 1-2 punch combo. Like, the fewer cards in the combo, the better. Right? I think we can all agree on that. Unfortunately, there isn't a very good card to do this in these colors, is what it's looking like. Any number of non-token creatures you control until it leaves the battlefield. So close. Exile. Enter the battlefield and exile a creature card from your graveyard. No, we're just never going to get there, guys. It's never going to happen. But we can sure as hell try with Sunboy. Or Boonweaver Girl. Okay. All combos are like Glorious Protector. You need the commander on the board and Blink Spell and Lumbering Battle. No. This is too much. This is too much. It's too much. Too many cards. Exile all zombies, then return all human cards from graveyards to the battlefield. Enters the battlefield, may exile up to three other target creatures from when it leaves the battlefield. What? Okay. We were so close. Killing me. You may exile another target creature, then return to the battlefield. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that the card exists to make this a 1-2 punch. Again, if the combo requires more than 3 cards, it's not worth running in a cEDH setting. Fact. Because what's happening here is very costly. So I do think that Booney is probably the best option, solely because Sun Titan is relying on the same cards, but Boonweaver at least finds us the card we need while we're trying to pop off. So here's what's going to happen. Glorious Protector's gone. Done. Felidar gone. Done. Never wanted it. It's not happening again. We're not going to be let down that way. Razaketh, I really love you, boy, but we're losing creatures here. We're losing creatures fast. Boonweaver Giant, you're back in. Okay. Yeah, your first string, Booney. Your first string. All right, now we've got Kai's Ghost Form back. Okay, cool. Now what do we need? We need to remove a card, and that card is going to be... Oh my god, it's probably going to be Open the Armory. It's probably going to be Open the Armory. Or Buried Alive doesn't have a necessary pile. Buried Alive doesn't really have a pile, does it? We never really made one. So it's on. It's out. Okay, done. It could work, it just feels slow. Yeah, let's play a few more games. I'm with you. That was definitely slow. Barrowin never needs to come down. She never needs to come down for this to be a working combo, right? It's weird to say that, but that's the case. This hand would have been good elsewise, but damn. All right. Thank you, Bruno. Thank you for loving the show. It loves you. Take it from me. I talked to it the other day. Oh, damn it. Sacrifice. We might not want sacrifice anymore. I gotta tell you that. Is there a creature that fetches an artifact when it dies, though? Then Pan would work better. then Pan would work better. Adding Panharmonicon could be a possibility. Oh, that's actually a cool idea. If you guys don't know the Harmonicon. So basically, we'd be able to do the trigger twice. Huh. I like that. I like it. If we're really going for Barrowin, but again, she is sort of a side note to this core strategy here. So let's just try to find the optimum hand. Let's just go through this, guys. Find the best starting hand we can. Ignore any sort of mulligan rules. Let's just see what we can get. Again, there might be a little bit of an imbalance with the amount of lands we have. I think we have enough, but... Well, this would be ideal, if only because we have that in our hand right now. But, let's keep going. Oh, man. They don't want to give us a good starting hand. They keep seeing sacrifice, by the way. It just keeps taunting me. Sure. Is this keepable? I don't really think so, but I like it. Let's just keep it. Why not? I just want to see what happens. Chrome Mox, Vanishing Verse, Lotus Petal, Mana Vault. God. Oh my gosh. Is this madness? I think this is madness. No one goes this deep on their turn solely to play out all of their cards. So if I did this, that's one. I have two generic. I mean, I could technically put Barrowin down now. But that's not super useful. I could also just cast Wishclaw Talisman and Tainted Pact, right? So double tutor. But all of our combos, again, they're very... This is a no-land hand. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend this unless the play lines were super clean. But the way the play lines work here, it's requiring a lot of us. So... maybe the best option. No, let's just go stupid. Okay. Barrowin. I do think that doing Tainted Pack and Wishclaw would make more sense, but let's just give ourselves a little breathing space. And see what we got. Felidar Guardian Panharmonicon. Oh. Are we still on the Felidar Guardian Dream? I don't mind it, but you do need the Panharmonicon for that, right? And just a refresher. I know I just looked it up, but I don't think I said what it does. But if an artifact or creature would enter the battlefield, it causes the ability to trigger a permanent additional time. You get to do the thing twice. So the way Felidar Guardian reads, you can't target itself for obvious reasons, but that does make this combo stutter, right? You need to do Felidar Guardian into a blinker that's a creature like a Resto Angel, which was suggested in the chat. And you'd also simultaneously target a girl, right? So that is Panharmonicon, Resto Angel, Felidar Guardian, excuse me. That's not so bad. I guess it's not so bad. But it is very cost prohibitive, right? But we're going to do Barrowin, and we're probably going to go for the Scry option here. See if we can, just the Fan Delver. I'm really a fan of Fan Delver. I can't tell you why. But we're going to go Fan Delver again. And let's just go ahead and Scry 1. Is it a land? We'll keep it on top. All right. We'll take one from this. It's always going to be tapped. Let's just pretend it's always tapped because I'm not going to touch it. Caves of Koilos. We've got 1, 2, 3 mana available. Remember, we have Tainted Pact that works at instant speed. But I do think we probably just want to put down the Wishclaw Talisman now. This is very slow, right? This way so we don't lose life. Whatever. Okay, we'll attack with her. No dungeons were accomplished yet. Okay, Verdant Cats. Gonna get that Scrubland. Okay. Get the Scrubland in here. Now, the setup here, we have 4 mana. Maybe I did want Razaketh. The way this is going to work out, Leonin Relic Warder is the cleanest line of play, but Boonweaver Giant finds us its own combo. We would just need a sack outlet, right? We need a lot. We need a lot for this to work. Now you see why Ad Nauseam is so popular. It's situations like this. Because if I was looking at this mana base, I'm like, oh, I'm very close to an Ad Nauseam. I could just get the mana, get the Ad Nauseam for a future turn. That would be the thing to do. All right. Would Dread Return help? Maybe. What's hurting this list right now is the lack of draw. And also the fact that the play lines are very convoluted. Like there's a lot of cards needing to operate to get the job done, right? But let's just do this. Let's just do this. I'm going to give someone this beautiful Wishclaw Talisman and then, you know, potentially give them the game, but also give it to the person with maybe the least likely prospects of winning. Give them a leg up. Hopefully everyone wastes their removal on the same person. So far as wish clawing right now, though, kind of just want to see the whole list laid out. Or not. I'm beginning to feel that there might be better lines for the Necrotic Ooze here. If there was a way to do a buried live Necrotic Ooze line, I would almost prefer that. But then again, like the one thing that comes to mind in these colors would be Phyrexian, Delver, and Walking Ballista, and then we're not really relying on the Venture, which is what this deck is trying to accomplish here. And, oof, so rough. I think at this point we really just find a draw utility, as sad as that is. Again, you know, we're in a good spot turn-wise. God, let's just say that Dark Confidant again. Tymna is also fine, actually. Tymna is actually a little bit better in this instance, because I can also cast Tymna right now. But let's just do Tymna, get Tymna down. Yes, this, you know, puts me off of being able to do anything else, but I do get to draw. Shuffle, 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 draw. Boonweaver Giant, of course. Unfortunately, there's no discard aspect to this particular dungeon, but that would have been great. All right, let's do this. Let's get a snow-covered land this time. Snow-covered swamp. Okay. Let's draw first. I mean, you probably should have attacked and drawed first before playing the land, but you know, who cares about sequencing? Okay, so this is going to be a much longer game the way this is shaking out, I have to say. What we want to do is set up a Kaya's Ghost Form Boonweaver setup, right? What's nice about Boonweaver Giant is the fact that it will find the Kaya's Ghost Form, so we can use the Tainted Pact to get the Phyrexian Altar. The issue is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. If we grab the Phyrexian Altar, we would have 6, 7 mana. Boonweaver Giant is 8 mana, so we're really just there so far as the combo is concerned, right? So what I'm actually looking at is manually casting Boonweaver Giant to get this combo down. So what we want to do is do an Aethersworn Canonist, not in this necessarily the sequencing, but we would want to do our extra draw utility and then Aethersworn Canonist, right? Cool. So we have multiple attackers for draws. We have extra draw here. We've got a way to slow down the game, and then we will pull into the win with Phyrexian Altar right off the top. What the hell? Okay. Sure, wasn't expecting that. We take 3 damage from Dark Tutelage. We would draw a card for turn, and we can go from here. So Tainted Pact is going to find a way to make mana quickly, like a Mana Crypt off turn. Or a Dark Ritual, calling the weak. We have Calling the Weak. That would be net 2 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, we need to get this down stat. But we don't... Okay. I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to stop it there because, as you can see, there are actually quite a few hurdles to make this operation work. This is turn 5. We finally got a stacks piece down. I think it would have been very nice to have more stacks elements at play here. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the stacks we want to rely on, things like the Grafdigger's Cage, things like our taxes, things that hurt the graveyard in general, are very difficult to play out in a list that's also utilizing Reanimator strategy. And why we want to play for those is because Underworld Breach is the most prevalent line of, you know, one of the most prevalent combo lines in the game right now. And it's difficult to play strategies that are counter to that because they also rely on the graveyard in the same sense that Underworld Breach is. I don't know if you can hear my cat. It is yowling. But we're closing the video out right now anyways. But guys, yeah, this is Barrowin. I think she's fine. I think that her combo lines are as refined as they can be. Maybe it's more advisable to go the Panharmonicon route so you can get double the value out of her at least, and double the value out of any other ETBers. But there is something there, it's just very slow. I would like to incorporate more stacks, but the meaningful stacks like the Rest in Peace, all that stuff, isn't really accessible to us because we also need our graveyard. But Kisara, that is her though, and I'm happy to say we did it. But as I do with all of our videos, I like to thank this is not a Sunday video. I just want to thank all of our Patreons is what I'm really getting at. To the group that helped make this whole production run. Thank you guys so much. If we have any Patreon members in the audience right now, you guys are the best. But to you, the returning viewers, week after week, thank you so much for joining me on these cold brews. I love these sessions. I love trying to figure out how best to make these lists work out. Sometimes they pass, sometimes they fail, but that's what this whole operation is for. And I can say that after 2 hours of looking at this one, she definitely needs a little bit more work, but at least we did try and venture into the dungeons today. And I think that there's probably a better dungeon commander with, or not even commander, just having the mono black one you guys pointed out in the body of the 99 is quite good, particularly in a list that's Dimir or just features that one blue card that lets you play it infinitely. But guys, that is Barrowin. I hope you enjoyed this one. Feel free to take this list and do with it what you will. But my name is Patrick Marlatt, and happy brewing, babies.